Much to the annoyance of hardcore purists, Turnstile went out to get something from the shop years ago and never came back. They wanted to escape labels and expectations and just do what they felt like. So, depending on your point of view, they either sold out or just evolved beyond that scene. After the success of their last album, Glow On, Turnstile have finally delivered the next installment in their career. From the start, the album shows they're pushing their boundaries further and adding polish to songs that could have been on the last record. While it's not a major leap from the previous album, they're still expanding their range, drawing from the 80s, 90s, and noughties scenes, and crafting genuinely great alternative rock with a touch of indie pop. The album often evokes the peak eras of the Police and Jane's Addiction, primarily due to the vocal style. However, the critical and commercial success of those bands means this is no bad label to throw at them. As an album, there are a few minor flaws, but it's unfair to dwell on them when there are so many more great moments. It's hard not to be captivated by the euphoria of songs like Seeing Stars, the pit-forming blast of Birds, and the horn-assisted Dreaming. Overall, if this is the album that cements their place at the top table, then it's deserved, as it's always a pleasure to hear a band that just follows its heart and doesn't make itself slave to a genre. Buick Order is a Grammy Award-winning musician, songwriter, and producer living in Nashville. Buick's fourth solo album, Adult Child, is a concept album about identity, estrangement, and trying to outrun one's lineage. Buick is also the guitarist and vocalist in the melodic heavy duo, Friendship Commanders, who've just signed to the Magnetic Eye label, ahead of their next album release later this year. Adult Child allows Buick to explore sonic territory beyond her band's heavy riffs, though the album isn't entirely subdued. Tracks like Questions for the Gods of Human Behavior and the heaviest track, Birthdays and Bullshit, still rock out. However, the tracks which really make this album a different proposition from Friendship Commander's releases are the mellower moments. The former single, Yellow, is not only the best track here, but possibly the best song of the year. Despite its deceptively simple arrangement, the class oozes out as freely as the beautifully multi-tracked harmonies. Losing My Courage is stripped down to a beautiful a cappella arrangement, emphasizing Buick's scalpel-sharp lyrical content. Other highlights include It All Belonged to Me, about her life and struggles in Miami, and the stunning Firstborn, which delivers a sad yet powerful message about familial and societal expectations and the issues they cause. Adult Child is not always an easy listen, due to its intensely personal reflections and emotional weight, but every song is beautifully written and performed, giving it a timeless quality. Die in Love is Green Death's first full-length album in 6 years and their first as a 5-piece. Although the band name and the album name suggest otherwise, it's the first time they've approached anything resembling a vaguely hopeful tone to their output. Yes, we're all going to die, but you can at least find some love and meaningful relationships on the way. Maybe even a little happiness, in amongst the anxiety, depression, and existential dread. This album is likely their best release yet.
Show
usually classified as shoegaze, but many of their songs have an alt-country flavor, reminiscent of bands like Midlake, Grandaddy, or Wednesday's portrayal of small-town America. There's still a heavy presence, but it's a subtle element rather than the main focus. When they do go louder, as in the impressive Same But Different Now, it's a great way to be kicked up the arse. The album boasts exceptional songwriting, making it difficult to choose favorites. However, the singles released before the album, Country Girl and Motherfucker, are outstanding. Both have a relaxed vibe, but their gorgeous vocal melodies immediately captivate. The closing song, Love Me When You Leave, is slower to develop, but gradually grows on you over its 7-minute runtime, and gets better with every listen. It may have been a long wait to get a new full-length album from Greek Death, but it's been worth the wait. Die in Love is an album that should be in every critic's top 10 of the year. First of all, I tip my hat to Ringlets for the album title. It's not just the album title that Ringlets have put a lot of thought into. Many of the song titles are also thought-provoking or amusing too. Most importantly though, the songs they present on this are an improvement on their already promising 2023 debut, making this a must-hear album for anyone with a love of post-punk, alternative or indie rock music. Right from the opening track, Posh Girl Holds a Whip, you realise that both musically and lyrically, Ringlets have produced an album that stands out from the crowd. When it enters its final powerful riffs, it requires discipline not to immediately just replay it. However, that would deny you the further pleasures ahead. The Lord, my German Shepherd, time for walkies, over the hill you died on. I Was On That Roof Once is full of more musical exploration and quick-fire lyrics. Imagine the classic songwriting sensibilities of the Shins with the cool experimentation of Foyer Red. Throughout the album, the variation they achieve keeps your attention and impresses you increasingly throughout the album. They also have the multi-part song shenanigans going on that make bands like Man, Woman to Chainsaw or Black Country, New Road so interesting. What do I look like? Born yesterday. Rolling Blunts on the Dresden Codex and Ancient Gaze are highlights, especially the latter with its poppy vocal melodies. By the time you get to the closing, this year's hottest movie, you realize that Ringlets have made a record that should see their reputation spread to every corner of the globe. Let's hope the world does the decent thing and starts getting on board now. Holy Scum's brilliant second album delivers an industrialized noise rock assault that's perfect for these times, a pummeling soundtrack to these pre-Armageddon days. You might think of the Mighty Killing Joke from this description, and that isn't a bad comparison, although there's none of the monolithic riffing that Geordie used to effortlessly pull off. After an initial serene intro to waves of laughter, Holy Scum immediately set about beating you with noise. The drums and bass leading the assault, over which the guitars add a mixture of violence and dread. Next track, These Hills evoke memories of the early 90s supergroup Murder Inc. Thieves and Witches are about the closest thing you'll get to mainstream music, although close in the same kind of way that the planet Earth is close to Mars. Just Tell Me How It Ends is a change of pace, but it still offers no respite. It's kind of like when 9 Inch Nails offered up Reptile in a downward spiral. Yes, it was slower, but like being assaulted in slow motion. Your enjoyment of the album is really going to depend on whether you enjoy being brutalized repeatedly. And this isn't the faux brutal that a lot of metal bands think they are producing. Holy Scum are more of a primal thing. They don't plan out breakdowns or drops, they just create stuff that could probably be used as psychological warfare or torture techniques. Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes if Holy Scum had been blasted at him by US forces, rather than Van Halen. If you like stuff like Killing Joke, Psalm 69 era Ministry, Godflesh or Steve Albini's various bands, then give this a listen, it'll be right up your highly disturbed street.